Here's what went down Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, on Beyond the Gates. When Naomi was mad about her dad, Eva channeled her mom, and Chelsea chastised her wife. On Beyond the Gates, Naomi and Danny walked through the country club, still in happy disbelief that Chelsea was home safe. Danny credited Jacob with the rescue. Naomi mentioned that Jacob was tied up dealing with jurisdiction issues because Maryland resident Allison had been arrested in Virginia. Bill joined his daughter and ex-wife, and additionally praised Jacob, feeling the detective was more family than ever. Naomi watched curiously as her parents hugged over their relief about Chelsea. At his old house, Ted brought in orchids and generously sprayed Febreze around the living room. Nicole entered, surprised to see her estranged husband. She accepted the blooms and shared Ted's gladness that Chelsea was all right. Ted wanted to know what the family's response had been to his stepping in and preventing Leslie from becoming neighbors to Anita and Vernon, but Nicole said Chelsea's ordeal hadn't been the right time to talk about it. Furthermore, Nicole suspected that Ted was only looking for a pat on the back. Madison and Chelsea arrived at the Dupree mansion. Chelsea thought it odd that no one was there. However, Madison presented surprisers Vernon, Anita, and Kat, who wanted to celebrate Chelsea's homecoming. As her fam announced that the rest of the clan were coming and showered her with compliments about how she had handled her kidnapping, Chelsea stood tight-lipped. Finally, when questioned, Chelsea lied that she had another engagement, but could barely keep from bursting into tears as she rushed out. Kat swore that Chelsea had said she'd be fine with a small gathering and ran after her cousin. Vernon felt bad, having anticipated that Chelsea would find comfort in loved ones being around. Anita sensed that Chelsea needed time to heal from what she'd been through. Later, Anita described to Danny and Nicole how Chelsea had been frightened by the idea of a big group of people. Nicole surmised that Chelsea telling everyone she was okay didn't mean she was. When Vernon blamed himself for pushing Chelsea, Bill advised him not to. Nicole intuited that Chelsea was dealing with PTSD and told everyone to look to Chelsea for clues as to when she was and wasn't ready to have company. The psychiatrist called Allison's deep study of Chelsea and subsequent abduction of her psychological warfare. Privately, Bill agreed with Nicole's assessment, and Danny, while realizing she looked like she was flying off the rails again, wanted Allison to feel even a fraction of what she'd made Chelsea feel. Understanding Danny's rage, Bill reminded her also to be grateful that Chelsea was with them and out of danger. Danny said that wisdom looked good on Bill and allowed him to hold her. "There's my girl," Bill smiled knowingly, as Danny balanced her gratitude with the promise that Allison would never see her coming. Naomi heard this and saw her parents embrace, grabbing Bill's vibrating phone after Danny rejoined her sister. Ms. Hamilton Hawthorne wanted to know exactly what Bill's intentions were toward Danny, as he had been permitting the vulnerable woman to lean on him. Bill reminded his daughter that he was married to Haley and that Naomi had been witnessing a family coming together in crisis. He didn't want Naomi reading anything else into it. Ted stopped by the mansion and received a chilly reception from Nicole and his in-laws. The plastic surgeon made a point of announcing that he had gotten Leslie to rescind her offer for the house across the way, causing Anita to crack that Ted was resourceful. Nicole was angry that Ted had brought up the subject after specifically telling him the family had other concerns. It torqued her that he had come uninvited, looking for applause. When Ted held firm that his motives were pure, Nicole mockingly thanked him for doing a good deed. However, it didn't mean he had earned forgiveness or favorite son status. Vernon, Anita, and Danny stood by Nicole as she instructed Ted to leave. Exasperated, Ted asked if there was anything he could do to make things right. Nicole flatly replied that there wasn't. Ted remembered that he and Nicole had been a team, while Nicole spat that they had been a lie. Was Nicole going to shun Martin and Kat for the sin of having him as their father? Ted asked. "No, just you," Nicole confirmed. At the guest house, Madison followed Chelsea in and wondered why Chelsea had shut down, despite exhibiting readiness to see her family en masse. Chelsea contended that she was tired, though Madison couldn't help feeling that her girlfriend just hadn't wanted to go over details of her kidnapping. Kat came in, aligned with Madison, in feeling that there was something Chelsea hadn't been able to admit thus far. Chelsea waved off the notion as Madison and Kat assured her that all her emotions were valid. Kat gave Chelsea and Madison their privacy, and Chelsea grabbed her phone, observing that the internet had blown up about her disappearance and the canceled purse launch. But when Madison remarked that her fans cared about her, Chelsea replied that one fan had cared too much. Chelsea was in shock that she could have killed Allison, and over how much hatred she had felt while choking her. Madison knew that Chelsea didn't have it in her to kill anyone. Chelsea didn't share Madison's certainty about Allison staying behind bars, or about anything, especially with some of her commenters siding with Allison. Deciding that she needed to see for herself that Allison would pay, Chelsea took off, with Madison close behind. At the station, Allison struck a model pose for her mugshot, able to name the date of Chelsea's post about working the camera and how many likes it had gotten. The kidnapper was sure her own prison photo would go viral, the way Danny's had. "Lord, give me strength!" Jacob eye-rolled as Allison continued to laundry list the contents of Chelsea's social media. When Allison was adamant that the only crime being committed was separating her from Chelsea, Jacob heavily recommended that she get several therapists. Chelsea stormed in, calling Allison a crazy, psychotic bitch. She railed that she couldn't be around her family because all she could see in her mind's eye was Allison standing over her with the knife. Madison and Jacob didn't think Chelsea should talk to Allison further, but Chelsea seethed about Allison constantly being in her head and how she kept having to relive all the sick things Allison had done. Allison cheerily said she would never do anything to hurt her wife. After all, they had exchanged vows, and they could go back to their happy life together once Chelsea got Jacob to drop the charges. Allison labeled Madison disposable and bragged that only she could understand Chelsea. Through her, influencer Chelsea had scored the ultimate viral moment. Chelsea barely held it together, as Allison correctly assumed that Chelsea had been monitoring her analytics and gloated over how much attention she had directed to her wife. Eva called to check on Leslie, who, in light of Ted's deception, stated, "I ain't breaking for no man." Leslie sneered that the Duprees didn't have the monopoly on black and bougie air, while Eva concurred that the dynasty had shown their whole behind in sending Bill after Leslie to menace her. Eva acknowledged that she usually held Leslie back, but this time she was all in on helping her mom fight the Duprees. While Eva met with Tomas, Leslie met with Vanessa, who said that the house Leslie had bid on was off the table. Leslie called the home her destiny and advised Vanessa to get in her little designer Barbie paddleboat to convince its owners to sell to her. Vanessa informed Leslie that the owners had discovered rare trees on their property that could only be moved at certain times of year. But Leslie didn't believe her and didn't want to see the other luxurious listings that Vanessa had brought to show her. Ms. Thomas realized that Vanessa was running interference for the Duprees and threatened to report the realtor for racial discrimination if she didn't secure the house she wanted. Vanessa scoffed, as Leslie accused her of acting like she wasn't black enough for Fairmont Crest. Leslie retorted that Vanessa had been stringing her along, but Vanessa spoke up about Leslie purposely choosing her as a realtor to weaponize her, knowing she was Nicole's friend. Leslie fumed that roadblocks were career enders, and it wasn't lost on Vanessa that she was being threatened. Mrs. McBride sassed that, for all of Leslie's bluster, she still hadn't fired her. Plus, she couldn't just magically make the owners sell to someone. Leslie argued that money talked, and that she was doubling her offer. Vanessa's face sank as Leslie declared that she wanted the owners to be overwhelmed, and for the Duprees to not be able to do anything about her living across the street. After Vanessa capitulated and promised to contact the owners, Leslie spared her from having to tell the Duprees about the sale. She would do that herself. At Orphe Jeans, Tomas relayed to Eva how Bill had filled him in on Chelsea's torment at the hands of Allison. The junior lawyer also agreed that Ted faking Leslie into believing he was handing over his house had been pretty low. Eva surprised Tomas by revealing that she had changed her mind about Leslie living wherever she chose. Tomas did feel that Bill accosting Leslie was a bridge too far, but noted that Eva advocating for her mother was a whole new vibe for her. Eva thought Leslie could win against the Duprees if she had the right representation, in the form of Tomas. When Tomas deemed the idea of tackling his own boss in court crazy, Eva seductively asserted that Tomas could well impress Bill into promoting him if he did things right. Kat walked into the diner and intimated that Eva spent so much time with Tomas, she should start paying Kat rent on him. Eva lied that she was getting Tomas's advice on investments. Kat harumphed that Eva needed the money to replace her thrift store fits. As Eva readied to leave, Kat smirked that Eva probably wished it had been Kat who had been kidnapped instead of Chelsea. "Since you brought it up," Eva shot back. Once Eva left, Kat told Tomas how, while Chelsea was gone, she could do nothing but picture what Chelsea was enduring. Yet the reality had been worse. Tomas had read about some of it online, but still found the chains and the wedding difficult to believe. Kat was determined not to let Allison write the end of Chelsea's story. "Hey babes, welcome back to Gossip Delight. It's your girl Daisy, and trust me, today's tea is scorching, steamy, and absolutely unmissable. Buckle up, because we're diving straight into the drama." Continuing to prove himself a tad clueless, Ted is surprised Nicole didn't rush on over to the family manse in order to tell everyone he kept Leslie from moving in across the street. Nicole suggests that maybe, just maybe, her family had other things to deal with, such as Chelsea's kidnapping ordeal. Despite this, he barges over to tell Anita and Vernon what he did, which doesn't go down well with Nicole, who insists nothing he does will ever earn her forgiveness. Even as Barbie Vanessa is trying to sell Leslie on Lyon. Living somewhere other than Fairmont Crest, Eva is meeting with Tomas. Her goal? To hire Tomas so he can help her mama get the home of her dreams. Even if that means going up against his boss, Bill. Coming upon the two of them together, Kat isn't thrilled. The half-sisters do their usual catty exchanges before Eva exits. Meanwhile, Leslie warns that if Vanessa doesn't do her bidding, she'll charge her with discrimination. Leslie tells the realtor to double the offer she originally made on the Jarvis home. Anita and Vernon's plans to host a breakfast for Chelsea goes awry when the guest of honor freaks and beats a hasty retreat. Arriving, Nicole says they all need to let Chelsea dictate how they move forward. If she needs space, give it to her. The entire family processes the situation. With Naomi surprised to see her parents sharing a close moment, Naomi warns her dad that he'd best not be toying with Danny's emotions. He insists he's not, but it sure feels as if he's trying to have his cake and eat it too, and using the Chelsea situation to get back in good with his ex and her family. At the police station, Allison poses for her mugshot as if it's a photo shoot, all the while quoting Chelsea's Instagram feed. Chelsea eventually storms into the station to confront the delusional woman, who continues to insist she loves her wife. Allison then points out that Chelsea's social media metrics are probably going through the roof, and it's all because of her. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, September 11th, tease a day full of emotional shakeups and hidden agendas. Haley has finally had enough of Bill pushing her aside. Derek harbors a secret. Chelsea makes a life-altering decision, and Vanessa pays Joey a visit that could change everything. Read on as soap opera news breaks it all down. Haley's at her wit's end with Bill constantly pushing her aside. She's done playing nice, but to be fair, Bill just went through something no parent should ever face. Learning your child's been kidnapped and might not make it home. That kind of fear doesn't go away overnight. Thankfully, Chelsea is back, but it's going to take time before things feel anything close to normal again. Still, Haley's feeling left out, and she's not exactly known for keeping her thoughts to herself. However, this time, is she just talking, or is she about to act out? Speaking of Chelsea, she's finally back where she belongs, surrounded by people who love her and just want the best for her. But the memories of what she went through? Those aren't fading anytime soon. The fear, the trauma, it's all still fresh. And that's exactly what leads her to make a sudden decision, one that totally catches her cousin off guard. Beyond the Gates spoilers for September 11th also confirm that Danny opens up to Vanessa about her feelings, and that pushes Vanessa to go see Joey. Danny and Vanessa are total girls, so of course, they talk about everything. But Vanessa is heading over to Joey? That's a whole different story. She just can't seem to resist his bad boy charm. As for Derek, he's got a secret, and it's clearly weighing on him. Whatever it is, it must be serious if he's going to such lengths to keep it hidden. But what could it be? And who is he trying to keep it from? So, do you think Danny and Bill should get back together? Sound off in the comment section below. Get more BTG spoilers here. Beyond the Gates airs weekdays on CBS. In Beyond the Gates spoilers for Sept 11, Danny confides in her girl Vanessa. Derek harbors a secret. Haley is fed up with Bill, and Chelsea makes a shocking decision. Chelsea makes a sudden, surprising decision that shocks her cousin. It's tied to the trauma she's still dealing with after her recent nightmare experience. Haley feels pushed aside by Bill, especially after everything he's been through. She's done playing nice and wants to be acknowledged. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, September 10th, imply a ton of drama as Allison has an odd request, while Ted Richardson has a confrontation. Plus, Martin Richardson and Bradley Smitty Smith reconnect. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, September 10th hint that Allison will request something bizarre, and it looks like she'll be making this request from a jail cell. It sounds like fans can expect a face-off between Chelsea Hamilton and Allison at the police station, with Jacob Hawthorne and Dr. Madison Montgomery present. Allison may request to see Chelsea so she can apologize or say goodbye, and Chelsea may oblige to gain some closure herself. This should make for an interesting encounter. But what happens next for Chelsea, and will Allison be locked away for good? Only time will tell. Speaking of encounters, Ted will confront Nicole Richardson when he feels his efforts aren't rewarded. Nicole had already thanked him for handling the Leslie Thomas situation and even invited him to the hospital to see Chelsea after her rescue during the Monday, September 8th episode. So what could this be about? Across town, Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday indicate that Smitty and Martin will reconnect, and this will be great news for both Samantha Richardson and Tyrell Richardson. They both want to see their two dads together, so it's nice that Smartin is opening up the doors to a reunion. Added teasers for the September 10th show suggest that another couple will inch closer together. Who could this be? The possibilities are endless, from Eva Thomas and Tomas Navarro to Danny Dupree and Andre Richardson. Fans will have to tune in to see the duo that further bonds during the episode. What storyline are you most looking forward to during Wednesday's show? Share your thoughts. Tune in to the CBS Soap Daily and check out CTS often for the best Beyond the Gates updates, spoilers, and new. Why was Ted unable to read the room? Ted, Keith D. Robinson, has to know that this wasn't the time for the family to know exactly what he did to save the day. And for that matter, should he even be shedding light on what he did at this point? He knows Leslie, Trisha Mann Grant, will fight tooth and nail to overcome anything he and Bill, Timon Kyle Durrett, did. She's already working on Vanessa, Lauren Buglioli, to go back to Anita's, Tamara Tooney, and Vernon's, Clifton Davis, across the street neighbor. She wants to offer double what she asked before. How much was that first check Leslie received from the trust? We'd feel better if we knew, because offering double on a Fairmont Crest home? That has to be a lot. Leslie knows how much the upkeep on a mansion like that is, right? Will Vanessa fight fire with fire? Leslie threatened to make waves for Vanessa, and she played the racial discrimination card. Will Vanessa play the Joey Armstrong, John Lindstrom card? That's who she has on her side. Why didn't Vanessa figure out how to record Leslie? If there were a way she could have, that would have been great. Leslie vocalized her desire to live across from Anita and Vernon to overwhelm them. She feels she deserves revenge on them, and she will do whatever it takes to get it. Is there nowhere else in Fairmont Crest Leslie can live? Are there no new construction homes going up in FC? No other homes on the market? Let Leslie live somewhere else in FC that's not near Anita and Vernon. Does a place like that exist? How does Eva expect Tomas to go up against Bill? That is his boss. If he does take Leslie and Eva's Ambir Michelle case, then he's burning some pretty serious bridges with Bill and Kat, Colby Muhammad. That's his career and his personal life in one fell swoop. How can Eva ask that of him? Is Chelsea going to remove herself from the spotlight permanently? We're worried about Chelsea's Ronnie Rose Mantilla future. She's already doing the Alicia Keys thing and going sans makeup. And with the way Allison, Brianna Roberts, keeps spouting Chelsea's social media sayings verbatim, Chelsea might feel like social media is no longer her friend. She even mentioned that there's a faction of her followers who are Allison and Chelsea shippers. Is anybody loving Bill and Danny's closeness? Yes, we remember what Bill did to Danny, Carla Mosley, and that he's a married man. But the closeness that Bill and Danny are showing right now is giving us a peek into what they must have been like in the beginning and during much of their marriage. When Bill wasn't cheating on his wife, that is. These two are hot, and their support for each other during this Chelsea crisis was everything. However, should Naomi Ariel Prepetit be worried about her mom and dad's closeness? What did you think of the Tuesday, September 9th episode? Any more questions we should be asking? Beyond the Gates spoilers for fall hint at some exciting weeks and months ahead, as The Bold and the Beautiful's Ridge Forrester is set to do a crossover storyline. Plus, a new character is slated to debut. Not to mention, two people's lives will change forever, thanks to some lies and a fatality, so it's time to talk about what fans can expect from the new CBS soap in the days and weeks ahead. First things first, Danny Dupree and Andre Richardson will head on a trip together, which has them in Ridge's orbit. Danny has recently opened a modeling agency and is the lead model that the company is plugging. So will Danny and Andre's trip be one for business or pleasure? Will they head to LA? Could Forrester Creations be interested in Danny as a spokesperson or a model to show off their designs? In other news, Isaiah Hawthorne, Jacob Hawthorne's brother, will debut sometime in the fall. As of this writing, no air date has been announced, but BTG spoilers note that Isaiah will get mixed up in two complicated relationships, which will create a ton of drama in Fairmont Crest. Speaking of Jacob, he and his wife, Naomi Hawthorne, will be on opposite sides of an issue. From the sounds of it, they won't be the only married couple dealing with problems, as it sounds like Anita Dupree and Vernon Dupree will also face some tests where their marriage is concerned. On a good note, Bradley Smitty Smith and Martin Richardson will work to repair their romance, so it sounds like these two may get things back on track. Across town, things will get hot and heavy for Nicole Richardson and Carlton Fitzgerald. So how will Ted Richardson feel about this? Elsewhere, the lives of both Vanessa McBride and Ashley Morgan will forever change. And Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest this is due to a demise and some lies. It sounds like someone's chapter is ending in Fairmont Crest, so who will meet their maker before the fall season ends? Only time will tell. Lastly, Eva Thomas and Catherine "Cat" Richardson will continue to battle it out for Tomas Navarro's attention, which is puzzling considering how Cat's gotten the ick for her boyfriend since becoming intimate. Beyond the Gates spoilers remind fans that Cat is pretty stubborn, so knowing that her sister is waiting in the wings for her to break up with Tomas might be reason enough for her to string the lawyer along for a little while more. Can they make their marriage work? The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, September 10th, 25, suggest that Smitty and Martin will reconnect. However, they're not the only couple that's getting closer together. Smitty and Martin have been through so much lately. Martin's past and June's reveal tested their family. They're trying to navigate their footing once again. Will this couple be able to reconcile and move on from the past? The two will share an impactful moment that will renew their strong bond. But of course, it's a soap opera, which suggests they're not the only couple that's growing closer together. Another couple will get inches closer to each other, which could bring confusing emotions to the mix. Who could it be? Reconciliation is not in the future for Ted and Nicole, who get into a heated argument. Ted feels that his efforts aren't being rewarded, which causes him to confront Nicole. Out of sheer pettiness, Ted will undoubtedly continue to stall the divorce proceedings. Ted's ego is eating at him. He's aware that he's to blame for their marriage ending, but he wants to hold on as much as possible. Meanwhile, Nicole has been ready to leave him ever since she found out the truth. Allison kidnapped Chelsea and held her hostage. She even dressed up in a wedding gown and tried to force her to marry her. But this next request is even more bizarre. This storyline is already insane. We don't know how much crazier it can get. Thankfully, Chelsea was found safe, and Allison ended up in police custody. But she will try to manipulate her, even from behind bars. This disturbing request will catch everyone off guard, so there's no guessing what Allison could do next. Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest the land of Fairmont Crest will get a tad chilly this fall. However, the drama will heat up, The Bold and the Beautiful's Ridge. Forrester will have a CBS soap crossover storyline, while there's trouble in paradise for Vernon Dupree and Anita Dupree. Plus, Nicole Richardson's love life heats up. Beyond the Gates spoilers for the fall imply that Danny Dupree and Andre Richardson will go on a trip together that has them running into Ridge Forrester. Will they head to Los Angeles? Danny has started a modeling agency with Pamela Curtis, and as Andre is a freelance photographer for the company, these three could have an interesting encounter. But will Forrester Creations be interested in Danny to model some of their designs? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Meanwhile, added teasers suggest that Danny's parents, Vernon and Anita, will have their marriage tested. Will Leslie Thomas be behind this? Meanwhile, Nicole will spend more time with Carlton. Elsewhere, Bradley Smitty Smith and Martin Richardson will work on their marriage this autumn, while Naomi Hawthorne and Jacob Hawthorne won't land on the same page. Speaking of Jacob, his brother, Isaiah Hawthorne, will enter storylines. While there's no official air date as of yet, Isaiah will get twisted into two complicated romances on canvas, and this will cause increased tension. Plus, sisters Eva Thomas and Catherine "Cat" Richardson will continue to battle over Tomas Navarro. Lastly, the lives of Vanessa McBride and Ashley Morgan will change forever, and this is due to lies and death. It looks like it's going to be a hot fall in Fairmont Crest. What storyline are you most looking forward to? Share your thoughts. Tune into the CBS Soap Daily and check out CTS often for the best Beyond the Gates updates, spoilers, and news. Beyond the Gates spoilers. For Tuesday, September 9th, indicate Chelsea Hamilton will have an uphill battle ahead, as Tomas Navarro will have a dilemma to figure out. Chelsea was rescued during the Monday, September 8th episode, but considering the trauma that Allison placed her through, it'll be hard for the purse designer social media influencer to just move on with her life. In fact, Anita Dupree and Vernon Dupree will worry that Chelsea has been pushed to her limits, so it sounds like she'll struggle in the aftermath of her kidnapping. Speaking of, Chelsea's parents, Bill Hamilton and Danny Dupree, have gotten super close during their daughter's stalker crisis. BTG spoilers hint that Naomi Hawthorne will catch a moment between the two that she won't approve of. Could Bill and Danny share a kiss? It would seem odd that a hug or embrace would rub Naomi the wrong way, so fans will have to tune in to see what happens. In other news, Beyond the Gates spoilers for Tuesday imply that someone will ask Tomas for help to fight the Dupree family. This has Leslie and Eva Thomas written all over it, especially considering what went down during the September 8th show. Ted Richardson duped Leslie into believing that he was going to give her the mansion that he and Nicole Richardson shared during their marriage. This was all in an effort to get her to stop trying to buy the house across the street from Vernon and Anita. When Leslie realized Ted had pulled the wool over her eyes, she felt humiliated and got very emotional. Eva wasn't happy with the way Ted stopped Leslie from the home purchase. Sure, she had asked for his assistance in trying to convince Leslie against the idea, but the tactics he used were awful in Eva's eyes. Now it looks like Eva may turn to Tomas for some legal help, but will the lawyer be willing to stick his neck out for them? After all, Bill is his boss, and while he hasn't always seen eye to eye with Vernon, it's hard to believe he'd okay Tomas leading a lawsuit on his former parents-in-law and grandparents to his kids. In addition, Beyond the Gates spoilers remind fans that despite Tomas being fond of Eva, he's not so fond of her that he'd go against his girlfriend, Catherine, "Cat" Richardson's family. He knows the very thought would have her reeling too. Danny's words will have Vanessa seeing Joey's the Beyond the Gates spoilers for Friday, September 11th, 2025, show Danny confiding in Vanessa, which leads her to want to see Joey. This will be a day filled with high emotions and secrets. Danny confides in Vanessa about her feelings, which makes Vanessa want to go see Joey. This visit could change everything. For some reason, Vanessa can't resist Joey's charm. What will happen next? Will Vanessa fight for Joey? Haley is fed up with Bill pushing her side. During Friday's episode, she was at her wits' end. Bill almost lost his daughter, Chelsea, who is home and safe. But it's going to take time for the family to recover from this horrifying moment. Bill has been leaning on his ex-wife lately, which has made Haley feel left out. But Haley's not a shrinking violet. She's bound to explode. Speaking of Chelsea, she's back home with her family. She will have to process the trauma of what she went through. But this frightening situation will have her make an abrupt decision. One of her cousins will be caught off guard by her latest move. Derek is harboring a secret that's been weighing on him. He's going through great lengths to make sure it doesn't come out. But what is this secret, and who's he keeping it from? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!